don't want to stuff these feelings when there are real challenges. We want to talk about it, but we always want to remember to have this possibilities mindset.
And coffee always helps.
Coffee always helps. Hi, everyone. Are you one of those people that looks at things with just these unlimited possibilities, always dreaming about what's next, excited about what's next? Or are you one of those who tends to get in your own way? Maybe you have some self-imposed limitations that you put on yourself. Well, what are we talking about here? We're talking about an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset. And in today's world, we're finding that even the best, most positive, optimistic entrepreneurs are struggling a little bit with that scarcity mindset.
Yeah, I think that over the last 2-3 weeks, we've been working with a number of clients, and they're risk takers, they're entrepreneurs, they're positive, growth oriented, and yet because of the uncertainty and the fear in the world that's out there right now, and it's just piling on, I think,
Right.
it's bringing them down. So they typically have the abundance mindset, but they're moving towards scarcity. And so I think if we can get them to move back to the abundant mindset, and also if you're on the scale and you're already a scarcity thinker, pessimistic, maybe these tools will help you get to the abundance mindset and be more generous and grow and be more optimistic ultimately.
Exactly. So on today's podcast, we're going to talk about how you shift your mindset from one of scarcity to abundance. Hi, I'm Janelle Bruland, and this is Graham Yahtzee. Welcome to the Intentional Leadership Podcast. So today, let's talk about scarcity mindset. What does it look like? What's the definition?
Well, I think that the scarcity mindset, it was the scarcity abundance mindset, I think was coined a little bit by Stephen Covey back, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And scarcity is you start from a place of fear and the unknown. And then you go into anxiety, you build yourself up of, I'm not sure, you're afraid. And then you make poor choices. It may be that you don't take the risks that you need to take or do something you need to do. You may just be doing nothing,
Right.
Sedentary.
Right.
And then you have a bad outcome. It's a negative outcome. So the scarcity just keeps kind of building upon itself.
Yes.
And it's easy to do. It's easy to get into that loop.
You bet. And simply said, I think it's just a lack of. When you find yourself just feeling like you're lacking something, there's a gap from where you are to where you expect you would be right now, or where you should be right now. And then that just kind of swirls into this negative loop. And if you haven't tuned into our podcast on fear, we talked about how to let go of fear's strong grasp and actually have freedom from that and inner peace. And this scarcity mindset is really coming out of fear that there's just not going to be enough.
Right.
And depending on who you are, it could be that there's not enough in your business, you're lacking in your business, there's not enough of yourself, there's not enough time, there's not enough money. Either you don't have enough or you are not enough. And we can shift our mindset from that. And I don't think any of you listening out there today, that there's not anyone listening, and I know we would say the same, that even if you may normally have an abundance mindset, you can find yourself in falling into that scarcity mindset. So I know for me, one of the areas that I'll fall into lately is I had some health challenges earlier in the year, and I didn't heal back from some surgery I had on my legs just as quickly as I wanted to. And for me, that scarcity mindset was really coming in around my health, where I would wake up in the morning and typically be able to jump out of bed, and my legs would just really bother me. I wouldn't have the same energy. I wouldn't be able to just go run like I'm used to doing. And I would get really frustrated and go into this negative loop. And instead of having a limitless mindset, I would have this limited mindset and start going down this path of, what if I never get better? What if something else happens? What's going to happen next? And end up going down that scarcity loop, which of course is never a good place to be.
No.
So let's talk about today how we can shift to a mindset of abundance. So let's talk about 7 ways that wherever you are today, you can identify yourself, where you might land, and be able to shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. So number 1, we need to evaluate our scarcity mindset. So it all looks a little bit different for each one of us. And in what area of your life, and I'm sure there's one where this comes up, what area of your life is it plaguing you?
I think we have a specific client that we've been working with for a number of years, and they text on a regular basis because they live in the scarcity mindset. They have what appears to be everything: great marriage, great job, plenty, abundant finances, ability to be generous. The family is all healthy, kids are thriving. There really isn't anything, but I think they live in this scarcity mindset, and without that shift, without saying and looking and identifying what is great about my life, what is great about your life, what do I need to work on, and then look at the positive there.
For sure. So all of us have a scarcity mindset that we fall into at one time or another. And some examples are to think about, is it in your business? Do you feel like you're not going somewhere fast enough? And does that make you feel really limited? Is it your health? Do you have a health issue that set you back, like I talked about? Is it your financial state? Does it not matter how well you're doing? Does it not seem to be enough? Are you always worried about that? Or are you having some serious challenges in finances right now? And so you tend to have that scarcity mindset around your finances. You get in that negative loop. Is it your time? Do you just feel like there's just not enough time, and that constantly plagues you? And then self-doubt. I think that can come up for a lot of us. So where is it in your life? You've got to identify where is it plaguing you. So number one, evaluate your own scarcity mindset. Number two is acknowledge it and identify yourself when you go into this scarcity pattern, because I think we all have something that triggers us to go down this scarcity loop. So what is it for you? And yeah, how does that downward spiral happen? What triggers it?
Yeah, I think we all have a specific trigger. We may have more than one, but it's if you grew up and if you didn't get the cool jeans, you're worried that you don't have enough money at that point. I don't have the money for that,
Right.
or you didn't make the team, and so now I'll never make the team. And so these little things can add up and just kind of be. They don't even need to add up. They could just be there in memories. And so that just, those triggers, oh, I didn't get the contract.
Okay.
And then you look, and it goes all the way back to not making the team.
Right.
Or I didn't have enough money growing up and I didn't get the contract, so therefore my kids won't have enough shoes, or pants, or whatever it is.
Right,
So,
right. I think that's a good one for sure. For myself, it's always been around fear of failure. If you've had loss or some big failures in your life, when that happens, especially if you've had a big failure such as a marriage or the loss of a loved one, or you just feel like that loss has plagued you, or for me, failing in a marriage, then when something fails, even if it's something little, or there is a smaller loss in your life, that can just become this big thing. And then you start down this spiral of scarcity. So that can certainly happen.
right.
So acknowledge it, identify what your own triggers are. What's the patterns that you do this? Think about yourself. In what situations of your life do you end up in this scarcity mindset, and acknowledge it? And then what do?
We have to shift our mindset. We identify it, acknowledge it, then shift it. Shift from that scarcity, that place of fear, to the place of gratitude. Just something as simple as that.
Right.
It's not easy all the time, but
No.
I think that shifting our mindset to that, from fear to appreciation to gratitude to generosity,
Right.
will help build on that.
No, it definitely makes a big difference. And we go then to this abundance loop. If we shift from this fear loop that starts there, how do you get out of fear? Well, for myself, it's been certainly appreciation and gratitude. And so when you shift your mindset to one of scarcity to abundance, what does that look like? Well, when you're talking to yourself about all the limits on your life, all of the lack and the things that you don't have, you need to start that self-talk to yourself on the opposite direction of, what do you have? What do you have? And I think that's really where that starts to shift, because you're thinking these things in your mind of where there's lack, where you don't have enough, where you aren't enough. And instead, think about those things that you have. And gratitude really is where it starts, and it makes such a difference.
I think if we have gratitude, then we have peace of mind rather than that anxiety. So we go, we can eliminate the anxiety or minimize the anxiety. And then if we have peace of mind and we're calm, we tend to make better decisions.
Right.
If we're not anxious, we're not worried about it.
Yes.
And then when we make good decisions, positive outcomes.
Mhm.
So, moving and shifting all the way through that is important. So
Right.
starting with gratitude over fear
Mhm.
is a great place to be.
Yes. And then you move to be making those positive choices then, and then you're going to have those positive outcomes.
Right.
So, a practical way to do this, step number 4, is in your area of lack. So, you've identified this area of lack in your life of where you go. Is it particular in your business, in your finances, in your health, in your family, your time, money, whatever that is? Take yourself in that one thing that you're always talking about that you're limited in or you're lacking in, and replace that with 10 positive things, 10 things that you appreciate, and it makes such a difference. So if you're lacking, you're feeling like you don't have enough, how can you take it and turn it on its head, shift that mindset, and tell yourself, well, what do I actually have that I can be grateful for?
So do you write it down? You write down all the things I'm grateful for, or do you write down the risks, or both?
I think that you need to really look at what that scarcity mindset is. Yes, I think it's good to write it down. I certainly write it down. And I think anytime that we can get those fears out of our heads and put it on paper, it identifies it for us, and it just takes some of that sting away. And then when you see that on the paper for yourself, that, that is a pattern for me. This is what I'm doing. And then next to that, those 10 affirmations for yourself. What are those things that you have, those possibilities, those things that you're grateful for, and listing those down? And I think not only writing them down, but also saying them to yourself, I think really makes a difference.
I often, when I'm training for something, have 3x5 cards in my drawer where I have a toothbrush. Right? So every morning and every night, I see the top 5 things that I'm grateful for, or I'm thinking of, or I'm training for, whatever the reasons are, or my purpose.
Right.
So they're just little affirmations that are reminders on a 3x5 card in the drawer.
Yes. Yeah. And often I mentioned the gap, and we talked about the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And that you can feel really limited. I know for myself, I think I'm just not getting there fast enough. And it really helps when you get in that place if you have a particular thing that you felt just didn't work, that you did at work, in your business, and to you it just felt like it's just not happening, it's not working. Then instead of that, write that thing down. And then instead of that, go back and look at all of the things that you have accomplished in your business around this particular area, and write those 10 things down. Say those 10 things out loud.
Okay, good.
Make a difference for sure.
I think the next is making sure we surround ourselves with positive people. So often, especially in the last while, people tend to go down the scarcity loop, and they're negative, and then that brings you down, and then and it festers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can be around positive people that are going, oh well, hey, we're going to do this instead. We met with somebody yesterday who, instead of worrying about a business being a dinosaur, went out and found how to make the dinosaur a brand new egg, and they're booming.
Right.
It's unbelievable the excitement that they have from taking something that, quite frankly, in 5 years may not even be around, to something that can help the entire world.
Right.
And it was just taking that simple mindset shift, and the positivity from him was so fun.
It's infectious.
Yeah.
It's really contagious. And I think we have to make sure that we're, first of all, speaking in a positive way, having that abundance mindset ourselves. So take the time to do this shift for yourself and get yourself there so that you're speaking from a mindset of abundance and possibility. And then spending time with others who look at things the same way makes a big difference. So I think if you're spending time with a friend, and we talked about, we all get in this situation, even if you've had incredible success as an entrepreneur, you've got a great life, with everything going on in the world today and with personal challenges that come on top of it, you can get weighed down by that. So talk to yourself like you would your best friend, a colleague, and give yourself that boost back up. get yourself back in that abundance mindset. Talk to yourself the way that you are to a friend. And if you have a friend or a colleague who is typically in having an abundance mindset, but they're going through a hard time, then encourage them and even call them on it. Let them express what they're going through. We don't want to stuff these feelings when there are real challenges. We want to talk about it, but we always want to remember to have this possibilities mindset and just talk about, well, what am I learning through this? And what are the different possibilities? And think of as many as you can that, well, this may not be working, but what about this? And what could we do here? I mean, we did something with our own team just in the last couple of weeks where we just got together for a brainstorming and talking about what kind of content that we're going to be producing for you upcoming. And it just was really good just to get together and just talk about dreaming together, what things that we wanted to do, what we wanted to bring to you and help you grow in living that intentional life and that happier life that you want to live.
So surrounding ourselves with those positive people and also being that positive person.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think that's critical.
Right, definitely. And then at number 6, so that was people. Number 5, 6 is do what you know you need to do and let go of the outcome. I think this is so hard. I know if you're a goal setter like me, I think all of us, we're planners, we're goal setting, we're writing out our 1-year, 5-year plans, and all of those things are good. But I think that we can get so attached to the outcome that if things don't go according to our timeline, is there anybody out there listening that is with me on this? If it doesn't go just the way that you thought it was going to go, you think, oh, it's over. This isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And I think we have to let go of the outcomes and just do what we know we need to do and take that next step. Because I think that scarcity mindset can really paralyze us and get us in a state where, okay, I'm not going to move. I can't make a decision right now, so I'm just not going to make any decisions. I'm just going to stay here in this paralyzed place. Yeah. Never healthy.
Not a great place to be. No. So set the goal, go achieve it, and pay attention to what ultimately what you were trying to do on the outcome, and not worry about the outcome, but do what you need to do. Right. Take action.
Right. Fine. Yeah, exactly. And number 7 is we want to be having this abundance mindset every day, right? And I think, as Graham, as you talked about earlier in our podcast, is that I think most of us are wired with an abundance or scarcity mindset, and you can look at it as that cup half full or that cup half empty. You may reside a little bit one way or the other, but no matter what, no matter where you are, if you want to level up to that next level of just having this abundance mindset all the time, so that when people look at you, they want to be around you, your energy is infectious. It has to start every day. So step number 7 is make sure that you're creating that clarity every single day for yourself and that intention that you're going to have that mindset of abundance. Because let's face it, we don't get up every morning and have that kind of mindset. I mean, how did you wake up this morning? Did you wake up just excited to start your day and this abundance mindset? Sometimes you do, and let's be honest, sometimes you don't.
No, and coffee always helps.
Coffee always helps too. So something that I do every single day, and I hope you're doing this too, and you can learn more about this in some free resources that we have for you. But make sure that you have a morning success ritual, because every day, the way you start your day matters. You want to start your day with clarity, with a clear purpose and intention. You want to wake up with this mindset of abundance. And sometimes you may not roll out of bed and feel that way, but if you have a morning success ritual, which helps you get your mind in that state of abundance, in that place where you're going to look at the possibilities, not the limitations, it really is going to make a difference. Okay. Well, good. Okay, well, let's review. We've given you 7 steps to shift from a state of scarcity to abundance. What are those 7 steps?
First one, evaluate the scarcity mindset. Evaluate where you are.
Okay.
And then the second, acknowledge it. Become aware of it. Is there a pattern here? And what can you do to change that?
Right. And then number 3, make the decision. You have to shift that mindset. You can either make the choice to wallow or shift into that mindset abundance again. And then number 4, what is that area of lack? If you find yourself falling into that pattern, If you have one area that you're struggling with, then what are those 10 things that override it? Those 10 things that you're going to tell yourself that you're going to write down that puts you back in that abundance mindset.
Right. Next one's people. That's my favorite. But being the positive person, but also finding the positive people and being surrounded by people with the abundance mindset and really just being that person to others as well.
Yeah. And number 6, take action. So don't let, when the scarcity mindset creeps in, don't let that paralyze you. Don't suppress that. That doesn't work. And then number 7, start every single day with that abundance mindset, with that clear intention every day that this is how you're going to live your life. Not in a place of scarcity, but in a place of abundance. Right. We can do it. We can do it together. We're going to encourage you to keep on that path.
And share.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. Where have you made a shift where you found that you're ending up in this scarcity mindset? Where have you made a shift to that abundance mindset? We'd love to hear from you on that.
Good.
Well, we've included in this podcast a free resource, as always, for you to be able to download, spend some time with on your own to really evaluate where you are struggling with the scarcity mindset and how to shift from scarcity to abundance. So we encourage you to download that free resource, share it with your team, with a loved one is always a good place to start too. So remember, you can choose to live your life in a clear and purposeful way. You can leave that overwhelmed, overcommitted lifestyle and instead live one of balance and joy and intention. And you can choose to do that each and every day. Thank you again for joining us for the Intentional Leadership Podcast. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe so that you can know right when the next episode is coming out. And we look forward to seeing you again next time on the Intentional Leadership Podcast.